Right now, some Americans are scrambling to finish their tax returns from last year ahead of tonight's deadline.
And you better get a move on it. You have until midnight to turn them in, whether you file electronically or you get that postmark by 11:59. But don't panic. We're joined now by Mark Steber, the Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt. Good morning.
Good morning. Very exciting time. It is no more after today. You're right. 18 hours and about 45 minutes to get it in.
It's a busy day, maybe a holiday for accountants and CPAs, but for most folks, the anxiety starts to amp up if you haven't gotten your taxes done. So what happens if someone misses the midnight deadline?
Well, there's a couple of things. You run the risk of a late filing penalty, a failure to pay penalty, interest on top of that. And it's really easy to get an extension. Heck, it's really easy to get your taxes done, to be honest with you. A lot of people come in and expect to extend, and then by the time you run all the machinations, they're able to file their tax return electronically, as you point out. So don't panic. There's still time. Many tax companies have extended hours, extended staff, more resources, and nobody gets left behind if you want to get your taxes done or file that extension.
It is 5:17 right now, Mark, and you sound so excited to talk to us about taxes.
A lot of coffee.
Like Christmas time.
I know, right? All right, Mark, so who is eligible for an extension, and what does that mean for taxpayers at home?
Well, the good news is, as the title says, you probably can't see it, it's an automatic extension of time to file. Now, that does not mean it's automatically going to happen. You have to send it in. But anybody who sends in the form electronically or postmarked, most importantly, postmarked to be able to prove you did it, you qualify for an extension of time to file your paperwork, but not to pay your taxes. If you owe taxes, that's due today. Prepare to write that check or draft that bank account or put it on a credit card. Otherwise, you do have that potential for a late filing penalty. But anybody can file, both for your federal and for your state, just by logging in or visiting a tax pro and sending that information on in. So it's a lot easier to do than you think, but you do have to work up the numbers, because you fall short and you missed your estimate and you owe a bunch and you didn't pay on time. Then you have that penalty risk.
So a lot of people file early because they expect to get a refund and they maybe already spent the money before they get it. But if someone owes money to the IRS, what are their options if they can't pay Uncle Sam?
Well, the good news is the IRS is not this big, mean behemoth. There are many ways to get your taxes put on a finance program, shorter term or longer term, with very, very low fees and a tiny amount of interest. So the worst thing you can do is ignore it. And the double worst thing you can do is to not do anything. Because as I say, you have two real penalties: failure to file and failure to pay. And those are separate. So if you file your extension, even if you can't pay and you don't get on a payment program plan, you still avoid that penalty, and then you're only left to deal with the one. But if you're just going to kick the can down the road and say, I'll handle this later on when I'm in better financial standing, you get two potential penalties plus interest when you could have only had one. But as I say, any competent and good branded tax pro can get you registered with an IRS payment program, provided you qualify, and then you don't have any problems. You filed your taxes, you put on a program, you're making your payments, and then, unfortunately, it's time to start thinking about next year, because we're already about a third way through this year. But the worst thing you can do is ignore it altogether. That just compounds a problem that won't go away by itself.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining us this morning and getting us excited about our taxes. We really appreciate it.
A lot of people are getting refunds, and that's a good thing.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.